Terrorists using the Arizona-Mexico border to slip into the U.S. An Eyewitness News 4 exclusive. The investigators show you the disturbing evidence.
Illegals from terrorist nations are crossing the border into Arizona. Tom McNamara and the Eyewitness News 4 investigators have spent the last 3 months talking to experts and eyewitnesses.
Are compelling and the evidence is frightening. And just this week, Colorado Congressman Tom Tancredo released a report showing the problem is worse than anyone thought. Here's what the Eyewitness News 4 investigators uncovered.
It's a Muslim prayer blanket. It was found about 1.5 miles west of the Douglas Port of Entry in 2001.
Larry Vance is a rancher who lives near the U.S.-Mexico border in Douglas. For years, he says he's watched and documented thousands of illegals crossing the border and running away to eventual arrest or to freedom and anonymity somewhere in this country. And in just 1 hour during this stakeout along the border between Douglas and Bisbee, the investigators count 198 illegals in 5 different groups crossing into the U.S. with no resistance. Watch as they huddle in the bushes and then climb through a few strands of barbed wire and run for freedom. We called Border Patrol and waited another full hour, but no one ever came. Later, we checked Border Patrol logs, which note that agents were dispatched following our call, but the log also notes that those agents found no signs of illegals in the area. In recent years, Vance says the evidence that some illegals leave behind is alarming.
Other logbooks, diary type things, other bits and pieces of paper with Arabic written on them found in the area over the last few years.
We've all heard of the U.S. government's terror watch list, countries flagged because Americans are endangered by their citizens. Yet regularly, illegals from those countries are crossing the Arizona border, blending in with groups of Mexican and South American illegal immigrants. If apprehended, they're brought to this federal detention center in Florence. The investigators found that on this day, several individuals of this kind were being detained here, including some from Sudan, Iran, and even Iraq. These are just the ones who were caught. These detainees are called Other Than Mexicans, or OTMs. Most will eventually be sent back to their home country, but some disappear very quickly, usually before they even reach this center or another holding facility. They're taken away by tight-lipped federal agents to who knows where. Who are they? Well, they're called Special Interest Aliens.
The SIA, that they don't want to talk about. That's Special Interest Alien. These are people from those countries that we are considered terrorist threats.
Ben Anderson is a retired U.S. Army colonel who tracks illegal immigration from his home in Sierra Vista. He has a website sharing his research into special interest aliens.
You will not read about that. You will not hear about that. They will not talk about that. They will not provide that information to the press.
Colonel Anderson says these special interest aliens originate in the Middle East or Northeast Asia. They travel through Spain to what's called the tri-border area of Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay, then to Mexico City. They pay to learn Spanish language skills, and by the time they reach the U.S., they're acting and talking like Mexicans to fool border agents. And Anderson says they're entering the United States right through our backyard.
This is the main alley. It's called, Cocaine Alley or Terrorist Alley, whatever you want to call it. Arizona is the prime place, and Cochise County is the center. It's the point of gravitas, center of gravity of all illegals.
Anderson says some special interest aliens are well funded, paying tens of thousands of dollars to be smuggled into this country. They manage to get passports from non-terrorist nations, and here's the shocking part. If they are caught, they're often released on their own recognizance, never to be seen again.
There are Middle Easterners coming across the Mexican border as we speak.
Dave Stoddard agrees with Anderson. Stoddard spent 17 years as a Border Patrol agent and supervisor in the Tucson sector before retiring.
And what's scary is that I can show you places out here on the line right now where 18-wheelers can be driven across. And these 18-wheelers can be loaded with anything, illegal aliens, atomic weapons, whatever.
Stoddard says Americans would be shocked if they knew just how many people from all over the world are getting into this country across the Arizona border. And he says we're even less safe from terrorism today than we were before 9/11. Take, for example, the capture of terrorist suspect Jose Padilla. The Justice Department says Padilla and an accomplice plan to enter the U.S. through Mexico to blow up apartment buildings in major cities like New York. Or the case of suspected al-Qaeda sleeper agent Mohammed Junaid Babar. Babar has told investigators of a scheme to smuggle terrorists across the Mexico border. He's tied to a terror plot to carry out bombings and assassinations in London. And the Tombstone Tumbleweed newspaper reports that in June, 53 Middle Eastern men were apprehended by Border Patrol agents near Wilcox. It's believed they were from Iran or Syria.
It's the ones that are sneaking into our country under cover of darkness between ports of entry that concern me and should concern every American.
You don't know what is getting by you unless you come across, as you said, small pieces of evidence, remnants of things that give you clues that not everybody is coming across from Mexico looking for a job.
T.J. Bonner is the president of the Border Patrol Council. He knows exactly who and what current agents are uncovering along our border, and he has a dire warning.
It's only a matter of time before another terrorist attack occurs, unfortunately.
Now, some in Congress are starting to take notice of the threat. Colorado Congressman Tom Tancredo released a report that revealed a 50% increase in OTMs, illegals other than Mexicans, crossing the border. Tancredo says some illegals from terrorist nations are paying as much as $50,000 to be smuggled in, and he says they're not paying that kind of money to come here to work at a 7-Eleven. On Monday at 11 p.m., we'll have reaction to our story from Arizona lawmakers. What do they plan to do about it? And if you have a story for the Eyewitness News 4 investigators, call us at 624-KVOA.